You are watching the reenactment of a crime through the eyes of a police officer on a foot beat. At the moment, everything seems to be under control, but in 15 seconds, you will be faced with a life and death decision. To shoot or not to shoot? What would you do? You've just been shot at. If you were a police officer, how would you react? I'm Peter Falk. You probably watched a lot of police shows on TV. When a cop gets in a tight spot, what happens? Bang, bang, bang. Bad guy goes down. Cop holsters his .38, goes off to dinner at a fancy restaurant, the end. This show's a little different. Because you're going to be put in a real-life situation where you're the cop. You'll have a split second to decide whether to shoot or not to shoot. And you may not always be sure just who the bad guy is, and maybe there is no bad guy. So if you think you'd be a good cop, stick with us. You may be in for some surprises, just like the real cops. The first police revolver was issued to an American law enforcement officer in 1850. For the next 130 years, violence and controversy have surrounded all attempts to keep the peace by using a gun. This year, police bullets will kill an estimated 600 people. At the same time, almost 100 police officers will be gunned down. While critics of the police say they shoot too often, supporters claim they are overly restricted. But both sides agree on one thing. It is unlikely that we will ever disarm the police. We're not here to put the cops on trial. We're not going to put them on a pedestal either. We're here to take a look at what it's like to make a split-second decision that could cost you or someone else their life. Let's step into the shoes of a cop in a shoot, don't shoot situation.
Stop, police!
I'm taking a test for police officers. The film I'm watching shows a recreation of an actual police drug raid. It's a potential shooting situation, seen through the eyes of a cop.
Put that down! Can't stay there! Don't move!
My guide in this test is Sergeant Bruce Linsenmayer of the Pasadena Police Department.
What'd you think?
Well, I was very uncertain when we first walked into the living room, but I liked the fact that I didn't shoot as we were going up the stairs. I didn't feel that my life was, nobody was imminently in danger going up the stairs.
Well, and when the guy popped up to shoot at you, you responded. Maybe a little slower than you should have. As soon as he jumped up with that gun, it should have been just right away. The first thing we'll do here is outfit you with a police holster. So you can kind of
Beverly Dawson is one of 25 citizens we invited to take this same test. Beverly is a social worker who works with ex-convicts.
I'll hold it out a little bit more like that. Straight hand.
This will be the first time she has ever fired a gun.
And squeeze through on the trigger. Not too bad?
No.
No?
Well, ringing in the ears.
If you want
Sometimes
to.
I don't think the policemen
Try a
do their
couple more.
jobs very well. I guess I feel that there should be more restrictions on the use of guns by police officers.
And in this case,
Richard Rich is an architectural designer who will also take the test.
There are other ways to take care of the problem without shooting them, without going to deadly force. By having to take their gun and shoot someone with it means that they weren't able to control the situation in a more human and civil sort of way.
We're going to put in
Beverly and Richard will be given a blank-loaded revolver.
He's got that man at gunpoint.
They will fire at the screen when they think it's appropriate to shoot, or take cover behind objects provided in the film. They are not required to shoot. They have simply been instructed to respond to each situation as if they were police officers.
Don't shoot it! Drop it down!
You can take the test too. It may feel a little funny at first. But use your hand as a gun. You point it at the screen and imagine yourself as the police officer in charge. If you shoot, you should base your decision on the FBI guidelines for the use of deadly force. Shoot only when your life or the life of another is in imminent danger. Listen carefully to the radio calls. They're your only source of information. Now get ready to shoot or not to shoot.
Unit 137, reported a possible child molester, Reed Park. Suspect described as a white male adult. Last seen wearing a white t-shirt, gray sweatpants. No further information.
Police officer, don't move!
How did you react? Would you have fired? Before we see what you should have done, let's see how someone else responded to the same test.
Don't move! Stop!
How many times did you think that you fired your gun?
I think I fired 4 times.
Okay.
Is that right?
Uh-huh, that's right. What were you shooting at?
The man escaping.
The man that was running? The same man that shot at you, who was running in amongst all those children when you were shooting?
Amongst all those children.
Uh-huh. You had an obvious life-endangering situation. You had your suspect who was running a zigzag, evasive type course across the field toward an area of cover, concealment, and he was running in and amongst children. And for you to pull your gun and think that you can John Wayne or pick them off as they run would be a bad assumption. The second thing is what lies beyond the field. And what was back there in the background was a house, had some lights on in the house and some bushes and that sort of thing. Out of those bushes ran a child that was playing. He was the one that you shot at the last time.
I see.
So all in all, that was a completely no-shoot situation.
Unit 137, armed robbery alarm at Briar's Liquor Store, 5119 Haruba. No further information.
I'm the manager!
What do you think?
I think I might have shot the clerk, but I don't know.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Probably so. And more than likely, you have been killed again.
Not quite quick enough with my gun, am I?
Well, I think that in this case, you don't necessarily want to be really quick. I think in this case, you want to get a little cover. As soon as that gun comes up, you know that you have probably a clerk standing on the right side, an elderly lady on the left side, and a suspect in the middle, and a very narrow corridor to shoot down. And you duck down, but maybe off to the side would have been a better choice, behind some of the containers. Not that they would stop bullets, but they wouldn't let the bad guy see you. So probably there was a don't shoot situation merely because there are other people in the immediate field of fire.
How did you react in those situations? We'll have more throughout the program, but first let's see how other citizens responded. 47% shot as the suspect ran through the park. 21% shot as the child ran from the bushes. 14% shot at the suspect, but 24% shot at the manager. More important, 90% took no evasive action and could have been shot. They would join over 750 police officers who are injured by gunfire each year.
1311, 1033. My partner is being shot. We are at 1405 East 61 Street. Request an ambulance. 1311.
First, when he has 13 M's, partner's been shot. He's at 140.
I never envisioned myself getting into any shooting incident.
Are there any suspects outstanding?
It's like it always happens to the other guy. Unfortunately, it happened to me this time.
No cop expects to get shot, certainly not on a routine call, but that's when it happens about half the time. 4 months ago, Jim McSweeney was approaching a house on a neighbor disturbance call when he saw a gun poke out of a window.
All of a sudden, I saw a puff of smoke. I looked down at my arm, and it was covered with blood. My initial response was, that son of a bitch shot me. An instant later, my next thought was, my God, I'm going to die. My arm was outstretched like this. The bullet went in here, exited here, and then struck me in the chest here.
McSweeney's life was saved by his bulletproof vest. The bullet caught in the very edge of the webbing, resulting in a superficial chest wound and a large bruise. 6 weeks later, McSweeney was back to work.
I've got a Model 60 in my left rear pocket. I've got extra rounds in my top shirt pocket, right side. And I carry a boot knife. And I got Safariland speedy loaders. It seems a bit paranoid, but up until I got shot, it wasn't really in my mind that anybody could shoot me.
Very few officers escape the emotional after effects of being shot. Many retreat, trying to avoid dangerous situations. Others try to control their environment by being more aggressive.
We are conducting an investigation, PCP investigation. You understand now?
Thank you. I just want to know what was going on.
Shut your mouth. Immediately after the shooting, I was very uptight about people who did not follow my directions. Ed took me aside one time and pointed out certain specific points where I had to be less aggressive.
She dumped it all.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, you can come here and take a look at... Whoa! That's it. Why did she go in? Things are not back to normal in any sense. They'll never be back to normal. I think about it constantly.
This one?
I had problems sleeping. There are other problems that are too personal right now to talk about. Okay, buddy. It's always in the back of your mind. Anybody can shoot you.
We got everybody? Well, Mike's coming. He wants to...
Unit 137, report of a burglary in progress, worldwide storage, 5420 Greenbrier. No further description.
On this situation in the warehouse, you shot. Why did you shoot, and who were you shooting at?
I was shooting at whoever was escaping, but perfectly honestly, I couldn't see very much of that film.
Could you see the person that you were shooting at?
No.
But what you have is a property crime, a burglary. You don't have a life-endangering situation at this point. Those three people who ran were children. One of them had a skateboard. Oftentimes the lighting is such that you can't see clearly, so the justification to shoot is very, very thin, and in this case would be a no-shoot.
All right.
The average police officer will fire his weapon at a suspect only once every 9 years. but the memory of that confrontation can be the most vivid of his career. For Alan Fairchild, it began as a family disturbance call.
We got up to the apartment. We knocked on the door. The door opened, and my partner yelled, "Look out, we've had it." At this point, a knife and a man came flying through the door in a motion. Well, my partner stepped back. He was in front of me. We both tripped and tumbled down the stairs. He went over the banister. He fell about 10 feet and landed on his head. And the man had come down the stairs and was stooped over my partner holding a kitchen knife in his hand. The man picked up my partner's arm. I drew my revolver and I cocked it and told the man to freeze. He, whether he didn't understand me, whether he was drunk, I don't know, but he didn't drop the knife. He waved the knife around and I thought he was going to stab my partner with it. I shot one time. The bullet hit him in the arm. He dropped the knife and fell back. You know, I didn't feel, you know, like I was going to pass out or get sick or anything. There was no, I couldn't tell of any feeling. But by the time we left the scene, which was after the man was gone in the ambulance, my partner had gone in the ambulance, and it left me to drive the radio car, and they wouldn't let me because I was fumbling with it a little bit. You know, so it was hitting me about the time we left the building, and I got to the precinct. It was, I'll tell you, it's, if you never did it, or, you know, you see gun shows on TV and cop shows on TV and shoot them up and everything. Believe me, if you haven't shot anybody before, it's not the greatest feeling in the world.
Unit 137, reports of a sniper on the Santa Fe tracks overlooking Highway 91. No description suspect or weapon.
There he is on the track! Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Hold it right there! John, watch him! Hold it right there! John, he's reaching behind his back! Hold it! Freeze! Don't move! John, watch out! There he is on the track!
Halt!
Get your hands up! Get your hands up! Hold it right there!
Halt!
Give him some verbal commands.
Halt right there! Stop! Freeze, brother!
Hold it! Freeze! Don't move! John, watch out!
All right. I think I probably just killed an innocent person.
You killed the deaf mute.
That's right.
Shot them with your gun.
That's right.
Why did you do that, officer?
Well, I thought he had a gun. Oh, yeah, when he pulled it out of his back pocket, like that.
What did you think? What did you think that he was pulling out?
Well, I thought he was pulling out a gun.
Get your hands up!
Legally, it would be a justifiable shooting, based solely on the beliefs of the officer. What was his state of mind at the time?
Hold it! Freeze!
Whether or not it would be a justifiable shooting in the eyes of the community or in the officer's own eyes afterwards is entirely a different story.
The legal justification to shoot centers around the officer's sense of imminent danger. If he has reasonable cause to fear for his life or the life of another person, he can fire. For Jim Harris, a shooting 5 years ago still haunts him, even though it was legally justified. It happened when Harris and his trainee were called to a barroom disturbance. They went inside with the owner, but as they entered the office, Harris turned for a moment to check on his trainee. When he turned around, the owner had moved behind the desk.
I saw him drawing a handgun from a drawer. My immediate feelings and emotions was that of tremendous fear. I just knew that at any moment the weapon was going to discharge and a bullet was going to strike me. I immediately began to move to my left as fast as possible, and upon reaching the position of cover, I just brought the weapon up and fired where the man had been standing. I saw in my mind's eye, the bullet strike him. I saw a small black hole in the white shirt that he was wearing. I saw his body begin to tremble as he raised his arms parallel, his hands parallel to his head. He then dropped the gun from his hand. His whole body trembled as he turned and began to walk towards me. I backed up in fear, and as he was walking towards me, he said, "I wasn't going to shoot you." He then collapsed on the floor, and I saw a large pool of blood begin to form. There was a roaring sound in my ears. As I walked out of the kitchen area into the bar, I heard people shouting, "That's him." He's the one that did it.
The bar owner died almost immediately. And Jim Harris was faced with the possibility that he had just killed a man who did not mean to be a threat to him.
What was that man going to do with the gun? When he took it from the drawer and he pointed it at me, what was he going to do with that gun? You know, that question is in light of what he said to me just before he fell to the floor and became unconscious, and when he said, "I wasn't going to shoot you." Well, that particular question will probably never be resolved in my mind. It's an unanswerable question.
Most of us talk about a cop's decision to shoot, but a better word might be reaction. Once it starts, the average shooting is over in 5 seconds. That's not a lot of time to make decisions. Now let's see how you do in the final shoot, don't shoot test.
Unit 137, man with a gun, 3824 University Avenue. Contact hotel manager Joe Sabatello.
Yeah, there's some guy upstairs with a gun.
What kind of gun?
I don't know, he had it in his hand.
What's the guy look like?
A big white guy.
What kind of clothes he wearing?
I don't know, man, he scared me.
Okay, all right, we'll go check it out. You wait here.
Yeah, all right.
If you shot here, you risk shooting an innocent hostage. If you shot here, it was tactically correct, although taking cover would probably be safer. If you shot here, you were shooting an unarmed man as he tried to surrender.
Unit 137, family fight in progress, 9349 Bruce.
Star 7. Star 7. Star of the holiday, 880 Union Ocean Boy. Come on, open up!
Ma'am?
Open up!
Ma'am?
What?
What's the problem here?
I want that kid in my house! I don't want him in here anymore!
Okay, just calm down and explain to me the situation.
I'm not gonna calm down, I'm not gonna explain nothing! This is the last time he's gonna pull this on me! I want him out of the house!
Okay, I'll hear you out, and then I want to hear his story.
No more here, no more listen! I want him out of my house, you hear me? He's not gonna pay any more attention to me than he does! I want him out of my house!
Star 7.
We'll throw the light! Get him out! Get him out!
Okay, I'll hear you out, and then I want to hear his story.
No more here, no more listen! I want him out of my house, you hear me?
As soon as you spot the woman's gun, you should take cover, draw your own gun, and order her to drop hers.
He's not gonna pay any more attention to me than he does! I want him out of my house! He's dead! We'll throw the light!
At this point, for your own safety, you should shoot. But like many grave situations in police work, your own instincts and moral judgment will come into play. There is no absolute right or wrong in many shootings. The decision must be based on tactics, policy, and experience combined with your perception of danger. It is ultimately an individual human decision.
Hold it! Freeze! Don't move! Come on!
I found that as I was acting out the part, that my heartbeat was going up, my breathing got to be very shallow, and I could feel I was very nervous. One thing that did surprise me was that my first reactions were as I would have expected them to be, not to shoot. And after I was shot a couple of times, I got to be looser with the gun, and by the end of the test, I was much more inclined to shoot than beforehand.
I think that the police department is very lucky not to have me as a member of its force. I made the wrong decision almost every time. Once maybe I made the right decision. Throw down your gun. It's a totally different way of looking at the world, and I think that's important in understanding the police and how the police and the community relate. I think it's important for both sides to know that their view of the world is different.
Of course, no one police officer could have gone through the variety of confrontations that you've seen today. Still, any officer who goes out in the street well prepared knows that he or she could be involved in a shooting at any time. And the unfortunate reality is that everyone, including you, is a suspect until proven otherwise. So if cops seem a little too cautious, or aggressive, or suspicious, it's good to remember that we're paying them to be that way, so that we don't have to. It's the high and sometimes deadly price we pay to have peace officers wage our war on violent crime.
Harrison has 13 Adams partners been shot. He's at 1405 East 61 Street. 10 on the ambulance. Are there any suspects outstanding?
We have one barricaded suspect. 13 let him.
10 for the other barricaded suspect at 1411 East 61 Street. Is there a unit there in one or less only?
Linwood 71 Tom 2 is rolling in about 5.
51 Tom 2 is rolling in 5.
13 let him. My partner has been wounded in the right shoulder. He is okay. He is walking. We are continuing the location. 13 Adam.
10 for there's numerous units responding. Keep the air clear, please.